Day 2 in Portland, Oregon, exploring the sights and sounds of the city, driving through great little communities, and always ending up at our favorite destination for tropical fish, Steve Lundblad's The Wet Spot. We told him we'd be back. Let's go in. Steve put us in good hands. He gave us their 5-year tenured store manager, Travis Cooper. Travis, thanks for having us.
No problem.
Explain a little bit about what we're in front of, because these are really cool tanks planted with smaller fish, and a lot of the plants are coming out of the top.
So these are just a few of our display tanks here in the store. We've kind of gone along with the idea of having plants growing out of them just to help with part of the nitrification part of the tanks and aesthetically pleasing. A lot of people are really getting into growing plants out of the tank, doing more of a paludarium setup. So we're just trying to show them examples of what they can do.
And one of the nice things about the nano tanks is that they're small, they take up a little bit of space. You have a whole row of nano type fish,
Yep.
you know, fish that fit into a nano tank, which we'll get some great video of. But has demand from customers picked up on nanos? Are nanos still as popular as ever?
Definitely. I would say even more so. A lot of people at home offices or even small businesses around the area, they have a small area to work with, so they want something on their desktop or even just something as a table pleaser. Just all kinds of different kinds of fish you can do, a lot of different kinds of shrimp that you can have in these tanks. There's tons of different products as far as lighting and filtration for nano tanks that are very aesthetically pleasing, kind of hide a lot of the stuff. Just a lot you can do with them in a small area.
As far as the nano fish are concerned, they range in size, but some of them are really minute. And you could put a bunch of them in a tank and get away with it. And they're also pretty colorful too.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of different kinds of little rasboras that are available for these kinds of tanks because you can put a good amount of them in a small tank. They don't produce a whole lot of waste, so the plants are able to keep up with the bio load of the fish and give you a pleasing tank to look at.
One of the things that's pretty unique about the store is that you have somewhat aggressive fish on one side, you have community fish on the other side. On the community fish side, you have community fish, you have a lot of nano fish, and just smaller fish. But you also have many planted tanks or planted displays on that side. Is it because most of the community fish get along with the plants and that you keep it on that side because a lot of the aggressive fish will either tear them up or eat them?
Definitely, yeah, there's very few cichlids that can really be in a planted tank, so a lot of the planted tanks you see are more directed towards fish that won't bother the plants, that utilize them as far as spawning areas or hiding areas. It just makes the fish feel more comfortable in the tank. So the more plants, the more fish.
Now, you don't have to have just a community fish in a nano tank, obviously. You can put many community fish in a 100-gallon tank if you want to.
Sure.
But it seems that if you're going to go down the road of using some plants, maybe sometimes experiment, seems like a lot of people are getting into the planted tank. What are some plants that are probably a little more hardy for people if they don't want to get into CO2, yet they're going to see some growth?
Sure. There's tons of different kinds of stem plants like water sprite, wisteria, a lot of background plants like different kinds of alcinarias, cryptocorns are all relatively hardy species. Lots of different kinds of mosses that grow pretty well. Most of these plants don't have to have CO2. I mean, fish produce a small amount of it. They can sustain it. All of our nano tanks are done without CO2, so it's definitely doable.
Travis, we spent some time with Steven talking about the aggressive side, the cichlid side. Give us a little bit of a rundown of the community side, because you have a lot of planted tanks on the end caps, and then you've got rows of nano-type fish. Just give us a kind of a lay of the land of how you guys laid out the community side.
So our community side of the store is laid out basically by row of certain size of fish. So like our first row is all of our microfish. Along the bottom of that, we have all of our different kinds of Corydoras. The next two middle rows get to more medium-sized fish, so inch to 2-inch fish, tetras, rasboras, all different kinds of stuff, danios. And then in our end two rows, we start getting a little bit more semi-aggressive. So a lot of our more medium-sized barbs, rainbow fish, sharks, that kind of stuff is all over there. Along that whole bottom row is all goldfish, different types, fancy goldfish.
You know, people that are my age would probably hear you say microfiche, and they think of a different kind of a microfiche than microfish, but that's just me talking. I'll be ignored from now on. This is how groundbreaking we are at Blue Zoo TV, presented by Hikari, featuring Fluval. Wet Spot Tropical Fish, right here, won the Live Animal Retailer Excellence Award 2015 from Global Pet Expo Pet Business. So we come from award-winning places. We want to thank the Wet Spot in Portland. We're not done, though. We're still going to go see Steve over at Cichlid Exchange, and we're still coming to you from a couple other places like Coldwater Marine. This is Blue Zoo TV, presented by Hikari, featuring Fluval.
Blue Zoo TV is presented by Hikari, making species-specific diets long before it was fashionable, because at Hikari, we know it matters. And featuring Fluval, discover life below water with Fluval. Blue Zoo is proudly partnered with Carib Sea, bringing science to life. Nature protected, nature perfected with Carib Sea.
To email the show, go to bluezootv.com and follow us on Twitter at BlueZooTV.